Hi, my name is Damien, and this is my vblog called Idle Thoughts. Here I explore various uh, viewpoints on the world, mindsets, philosophy, very existential conversation, mostly one-sided, but someday that may change. And today I'm going to talk about a concept I came across. You see, I couldn't sleep last night, and when I couldn't continue on with my homework because I was at gridlock, I ended up playing one of my favorite games. And during its replay, I got to see what was connected to what and where it goes to this and overall strategy. And I'm like, that looks a lot like mycelium and neural pathways and connections. And the people, I started out with a lot of people in the game. Moved around like ants, So, ant, mushrooms, mushroom, ants. Which led me to think about D&D and creating a new race. So I clack up Wikipedia, and I come across an interesting word called Eusocial. Eusociality. It's EU sociality. I'll call it Eusociality because I don't know how to say EU without going ew. Anyway, so there's Eusociality and then there's Prosocial. Now, what they mean, being prosocial, is very altruistic. It's very idealistic, actually. It is a society based upon the idea that you help someone and they will reciprocate it or pass it out down the line. It is very much a humane practice as opposed to Eusociality, which is that but forced. And you see in ants and bees because they use pheromones to control and direct the drones. The question of whether an ant or a bee can make independent choices, we will leave that question to ponder another day. However, I do want to go over this concept and its applications. In Eusociality, you are part of a bigger society, right? And you are to specialize in a job. And when you specialize in that job, you lose the ability to do another job. You sacrifice something to do this. That, in of itself, is interesting. For a rich man cannot build his own home. He can socialize, make the network contacts. He can pick up a hammer, but he will not be able to build a home to code, especially not alone. However, he can use his resources, something he has sacrificed to get, to have others do it for him, those who have specialized in time, effort, and education, to know how and thus do this thing at the expense of doing other things. This is, without question, a form of specialization at the expense of something else in society. In the old days, it is thought that it is a woman's job to cook, to clean, take care of the house, and to take care of the kids. This is a form of what I'm talking about, in that the women do this so the guys don't have to, so the guys can focus on doing other things instead, to make the bread, to come home, to provide the house, to be nested in, and, well, I suppose that's it, isn't it? But that specialization, the fact that boys don't cry, is something shoved upon them, is a form of specialization. We want our men to be strong. And not actually strong. No, we want them to have a specific kind of strength. And it's a specialization that has a cost. In a YouTube channel video I was watching today, it was talking about communism. And apparently one of the things communism talks about is labor. How people will naturally do labor, such as someone who makes a kayak, not because he needs one, but because he simply enjoys the act of creating it, of making it himself. Such a thing is kind of stolen from us today. We are so focused and specialized in going out to our specific job to do the thing, but we are not allowed to have enough free time to do other things like make leather belts, or write books, or make art, things that will support our emotional journey in these sacred vessels we embody. It could be that our society, our ideologue of capitalism, socialism, communism, this whole requiring to make products to be sold and desired and sold, I think it has robbed us of our humanity. We have been made into more or less drones, it seems. This Eusociality prospect is real, and it is in humans, but it's not supposed to be. There's a reason why civilization of the West, the way things are geared here in America. Patriotic moment. America! That we have some of the highest depression rates of all time. We are naturally isolated in this inhumane machine that we work in. And don't get me wrong, there are worse things. That does not mean we cannot make it better. Just like we can make ourselves better and help others become better themselves. So this prosocial concept, I like this. I'm going to have to use this at some point. Perhaps something to play with, experiment with, but at some point, I'm going to actually put out the money, get a proper camera, maybe a real mic, and some editing software, and I'm going to actually make a real video, not a vlog, a real video. Oh my. Wow. Not sure how I feel about that. But it will only be worth it to explore this idea, both on paper and with at least one or two thought experiments. I believe in people. I do. Call it a flaw, call it bleeding heart, call it being human or self-aware. I believe in people. We can do better with what we got than what we're doing. We don't have to be rushing around and just making ourselves tired. Now, I do not care for communism. I'm on the fence about socialism. And I appreciate a lot of the benefits of capitalism. If we're going to keep or have any of those, we need to fix things. If we're to save capitalism before we die under the crushing weight of its corpse, we need to take steps to fix it. And I think our first step is to recognize our own humanity. Back in high school, there's a term called sheeple. It was a bad term, and it denotes that there are people out there who do not think or act for themselves. They just go with the crowd, and there are. And though they are a big group, I think it's something like 40%, it is not the whole group. And we have enough diversity in our world to tip the balance for everyone else, to break the herd apart so they can learn to be themselves, however bland or remarkable that may be. I'm excited for those people. I wonder what dreams they'd have. We need to have a foundation. And I'll work on this video. I need to flesh out this idea more. But we need to have the foundation of understanding humanity, ourselves. Before we can design a system, we need to take the human element into account. We need to understand the human element. And if we can't do that, then I don't care if you make a utopian spaceship with laser beams. Freaking laser beams, man. I don't care what you make. It's gonna break. Any intelligent fool could tell you that. So we need to start looking at ourselves, looking at how we're designed, what direction we're going, and understand. We need to work at understanding ourselves. Most importantly, on an individual level. I'm still working on understanding myself. There are chambers, I think, in here. I don't know where to go with that. But the point is to be made. By over-specializing, we are harming ourselves. One of the reasons why the Romans were so successful in combat is they had their shields, they had their short swords. They'd go, whoop, knocking the weapon out of the way, stab, 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 put the shield back in a phalanx. In that special, specified, specific situation, they win. They win. It's just how it is. The weapons at the time, best used like that. That's the motion. And they wore heavy helmets to stop that. And they had these big shields. You're in close quarters with a whole row of them. You're not gonna do much. You're gonna get stabbed and die. But if you take them out of that very specific situation, if they put that drone up against an individual, more often than not, the individual will win. Even though the average Roman soldier that I'm talking about would have to carry 90 plus pounds for 5 miles every day. These guys weren't weak, and they certainly had discipline, but they were too specialized. So we need to have a basis, a foundation, both of understanding humanity, ourselves, and we also need to have a foundation of ideas of what we really need to succeed, to survive, to get through the world. You think we'd learn it in school, but we don't even learn to do our taxes in school. You think the government that mandates people go to school would learn how to do a civic duty like pay their taxes. I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna stop there. That's an entire video in of itself. Just the over specialization of our politicians, the people who have been chosen to be in charge by those who have funded their campaigns, and then we voted for which doll or puppet or victim of the pid pro quo ideology. Tit for that. Yeah. Can you tell I have a speech impediment? It's pretty strong today. Anyway, my name is Damon Bishop. This has been an episode on Eusociality and the implications it has on our society and some things we can do to counteract that. I will, at some point, work on that foundational video because, well, more science. And yeah, why would I bother? Right? Like, who cares about morals, development of self, going from a boy to a man? And why would you make the effort? Why would you need anyone to tell you? And why am I the guy to tell you? because I think everything else is based on the Bible or agenda. So the reason why I do this is because I am. Thank you for watching.